Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have the Copycat Neighbors. So for those of you just tuning in, CreepyPasta, well, you can go Google it, but essentially it's creepy internet stories that get copied and pasted. It's like campfire stories. So, the Copycat Neighbors, or... My parents just told me this story tonight. Not sure why they waited so long. As it's titled on Reddit, thanks to on the NoSleep Reddit thread. You can go check it out there, or just Google like the Copycat Neighbors CreepyPasta. That's how I was able to find it multiple times. And have a look at it before you begin, or you can just listen to us with the rundown. So, the Copycat Killer starts off with this guy kind of just saying that his parents told him this story, and he now wants to share with the world. He has changed the names, apparently, so kind of giving it this feel that, this could be a real event, or it could just, or it's, give that simulation of it being, a real event that somebody's writing down. And goes in about how his parents used to live about 45 minutes out of Seattle, and they decided to leave for strange reasons, and they're explaining now why they left. Was that one of their neighbors that his dad really liked was going up to upstate New York because they got a good gig, and so they were the wife was excited to see who would come into the new place, and the new couple shows up, and they have just the weirdest 24/7 smiles on. They're pale as bed sheets, and they just set up and went into their place, and that's it. So his parents decide that they're going to go welcome the new neighbors. They bring over some cookies and knock on the door. The door opens, and they're shoulder to shoulder in the doorway. It's hello, sir and madam. And they invite them in, and again they just sit there on the couch, shoulder to shoulder, and the parents try to ask them questions like where are they from and stuff like that. And their comments are always very vague, and so eventually they just they leave the house. They don't even escort them out to the door. So I think that's kind of weird. And then a couple of weeks go by, and they start noticing that these people are getting even weirder by painting their house exactly how their house is painted, with a blue rim and cream color. And he's the dad is out there mowing the lawn the one day, and looks over, and the other guy's mowing his lawn, but he's wearing the exact same outfit and has the same model lawnmower. And I don't know, he goes and confronts him.
Yeah, he confronts him, and the neighbor just looks at him with that smile, and then...
That's all that comes of it? Okay.
Yep.
Alright.
And then a week after the house painting incident, the new neighbors get a new car, and...
it's the exact same. Yeah.
So then then they're like, alright.
Okay, this is fucked up.
We gotta go over.
Yeah, and so they walk over.
Ain't nobody gonna be like me but me.
Yeah. And so they invite him in, same thing, shoulder to shoulder. It's oh, hello, sir and madam. And they sit down at the couch, and they're the dad's trying to just get something out of them. It's what's going on? Why are you copying us and stuff? It just seems kind of weird, right? And then the mother kind of freaks out a little bit and tells him that they need to get out of there. And so he excuses himself. They just kind of, again, they let them out without actually keeping them at the door. And then they get back to their place. It's they have the same bedroom as us, verbatim. Every detail was the same. How do they know what the inside of our house looks like? Why? Have they ever been in our house? Kind of thing. And so they get really creeped out at this point, as you should. And they decide to paranormal activity this shit and put a camera in the corner of their room while they sleep to find out if anything's going on. And this whole thing is being narrated like as if like they're talking to their son. So the son's kind of giving off his own little commentary every so often. And then like the dad is like, "Oh, we even have the box of like VHS tapes, and like you're not going to believe it." And so he pops in the tape and shows the son the video footage, and it's like a couple of hours go by, and then an hour goes by. And they're at the end of their bed, like the neighbors are at the end of their bed staring at them, but not with smiles, but like these like contorted, like murderous, like angered faces, like full of hatred. And that goes on for like 3 hours before the video cuts out because it ran out of tape. And so they see that video that morning and they freak out. He grabs a bat, runs over to the neighbors. They're not answering their door. He breaks the door open pretty much, goes inside. And they're not there. Like they're moving boxes and stuff are all neatly piled up in the middle of the room. Their car's still there, but they aren't. So they decide they call the cops. They get the whole thing. The cops apparently can't really find anything. Apparently they bought the house from stolen information they got from somebody in Arkansas, and they decide the parents decide, okay, let's just screw this. Let's just leave. And so they pack up their stuff and head out and run off to New York. And so the reason why they're telling him their son this now is because their former neighbors, the Schneiders, who moved up to New York, recently gave them a call saying that they ran into some new neighbors that started copying them. So it's just like dun 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 done. Like that's the end of the story. So it was an interesting idea for it. I liked the premise of like the copycat couple essentially. That I liked the way it was written. It reminded me of some recent like pulp writing I've been reading actually from the early 20th century. But I think that ending wasn't very, I don't know, wasn't very climactic. Like it didn't really have as much punch as I think the person was trying to get across. Like
there was no sense of danger or whatever, you know?
There was a sense of danger when we find out that they had been in, like, that they were on the tape and, like, just staring at them. But, again, like, I mean, it's like kind of like with the Goat Man where...
But you had all the opportunity to kill them, and then you didn't. So, really, I'm assuming that you're just, like, weird as fuck, yeah, but relatively harmless.
Yeah, although it is... Yeah, I mean, like, when you get to that point...
the look on their face changed. Okay, well, looks don't actually kill.
No, fair enough.
So, I'm just kind of like, oh no, tell your neighbor to lock his door?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, that, they leave that detail out, so again, it would have been creepier if it was like, but we had all our doors locked and blah, blah, blah. So it begs the question, how did they get in? But, yeah, like, there's... When I was reading it the first time, I actually did get kind of really creeped out from them, like the premise of the idea of them like being in the person's home and stuff. But yeah, like you said, it's kind of like the Goat Man thing where the thing never actually threatens them in a harmful way aside from giving them a nasty look.
Yeah.
And just staring at them for hours at night. Like that part's kind of creepy because again, it kind of comes off that stalker vibe thing where it's just like they're just staring. But yeah, no, I want the story to actually be a little bit longer and kind of give us a little bit more detail or a few more events that like might have given us reason why this is kind of a threatening thing.
Yeah, because
like really the most threatening person was actually the guy with the bat when he went to confront. Like I thought some shit was going to go down, and then they vanished.
Yeah, it just I don't know. The whole thing felt like I finished it and I was like, okay, so I've read that.
Yeah.
What was the point?
Yeah, no, I liked it. It kept me going the entire time until that ending.
Yeah,
and that ending just kind of comes short because it's just like the Schneiders have a new neighbor that's exactly like this. It's like okay, why aren't we discussing? Why aren't we talking with the Schneiders?
Why are you talking to me? Why aren't you telling them a story?
Yeah,
that's definitely
a hit on that. Yeah,
it just the stakes just aren't there in this. Because, I mean, honestly, the only thing that, like, they moved in, they copied them, and then they left.
Yeah.
There's no real reason for them to have left, even.
The only reason I could think of is, like, somehow they knew that they had been had, But, I mean, they'd been had pretty early on, too. Like...
Well, okay, if they had have known that, really, because, I mean, they showed up on camera, so they clearly didn't see the fucking camera.
Yeah.
Because, you know, somehow they're that fucking stupid. So, really, their best clue that they would have been found would have been the guy's wife that night when they went over and she looked into the bedroom and saw and was all freaked out. That's really, that to me was the best time for them to have been like, oh, we've been found out.
Yeah, exactly.
We should leave town. But then they go to the house and that night.
Yeah, and just do the staring
just
thing.
Do the, I'm going to kill you, but I'm not actually going to kill you.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to leave town.
You found us out, but rather than kill you, we're just going to leave. Like, yeah, it's...
So, you know, why did they leave? I'm assuming, like, based on the fact that, like, to me, the best information, or the best time they have to know that they've been found out is before they do that last little, I'm gonna stare at you. That tells me that leaving when they did was really probably just more part of their plan.
Yeah, like, why
do the
whole copycat thing?
That's what's more logical, but at the same time, then why did they do anything?
They did. Yeah, like... it could have. I see what you mean. Like, it could have been handled a lot better.
The series of events don't explain themselves well, because
especially by that end, like
like
actually, a couple people commented saying like
I had the same idea as the very first comment. Where, you know, oh yeah, it turns out the copycats killed the parents and replaced them.
Yeah.
I was like, that would have been fucking cool.
Yeah, that would have been...
The only real question that would have, you know, had to have come up at that point is, why are they telling the son the story?
Yeah.
But then, you know, there's a third replicant or whatever.
Yeah.
And actually, I remember thinking that... what freaked the wife out what would have been kind of neat for that would have been the two adults moved in and no one else, but she looked down the hall and saw a son.
Yeah, that's that. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking of that.
That one, like, because they're copying their neighbors,
exactly.
Right? So they need that son.
Yeah,
that would have been like kind of a cool reason for her to freak out. A lot better.
Then she's more really like upset, like attention deficit or whatever that word is for. She's really okay. Sorry,
observant.
Yeah, she's just like super observant, like Sherlock Holmes style, like observant. Like every detail is just like known to her when she happens to look into this bedroom, just on a glance.
If I looked into a bedroom and it was just like mine, I would know.
Okay, so yeah.
You know what your bedspread is. You know what bed you have. You know what your headboard looks like. Mm-hmm. Like, you might not think about it, but if you saw the exact same setup in a different house, you'd catch it.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you might just write it off, but if they've been copying your car, your lawnmower, and your exterior house paint...
Yeah.
You wouldn't be so inclined to write it off.
Yeah.
To just be like, oh, whatever. Especially it's probably not the exact same bedspread.
Yeah. Especially since, like, it didn't seem like they were paying attention to any details. Like, the inside wasn't catching them as off because, like, oh, it's the exact same as the inside of our house kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, so they've just decided to copy the bedroom? Okay.
Well, they're doing it bit by bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was another flaw in the thing, it helps the story that I told, or in the story that I found, because it was kind of like, yeah, you know what, that,
it's a good, weird, creepy thing.
I understand why you would start with the bedroom, maybe, but why wouldn't you be doing the rest of the stuff, like...
Especially if they'd keep... Like, one thing that the guy could have done was just had, like, them come in the first time, everything's fine, come in the next time, then they know they've done some redecorating.
They've got the same couch, or, you know...
Yeah,
but
they've done some
not
work
the whole room.
Yeah.
But, like, they've got some, like, items, like, oh, yeah, we've got a lamp just like that, you know? Yeah, definitely could have done...
Because they've never...
And it would have stretched it out a bit as well.
I would have liked that, because it is a fairly short pasta.
Oh, yeah, it's really short. And like I said, I honestly think that a better reason for the mom to get freaked out would have been
a kid.
Like, oh my god, where did this kid come from, you know?
Yeah. And these people aren't, like, spitting images of them, but they're wearing the same stuff.
Yeah.
So it would have been creepy if, like, the kid had, like, a T-shirt or clothes that their kid had.
Just for a kid to show up that, like, to, you know, you never see him get there, but he's just there, and he's, like, the same age as your son.
And that's smiling creepily. And,
yeah.
Ugh. I don't know, smiling people, like people that smile, like, ear to ear, like, constantly, like, is always a creepy thing for me, and even, like, horror movies and stuff. I guess it's, like, maybe, like, you can't, like, trust that facade of, like, smiles. It happened to me with the movie Insidious, when, like, they go into the ghost house or whatever. In the movie, there's, like, a creepy family, and they're, like, always all smiles, and they're just, like, staring there, like, staring at the guy, and it just freaking creeps me out. Like, I get goosebumps just thinking about it.
Okay, that one never...
Really?
No.
I think it's the same thing with, like, it's the same kind of, like, idea as why people get freaked out by clowns, is because they have that false face.
Yeah.
Or false pretenses to their face. Like, they have the painted smile on, so it's like a lie?
I don't know, but for me, it's like, okay, well, it's a fake-ass smile, so I know you're lying, so you're not getting anything by me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, I know your smile's fake as hell. Alright, cool, I don't trust you.
Yeah. Well, that's where it comes from. Like, that's where that phobia, like, comes from.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Once I know, you know, that you don't trust them, I'm fine with it. Because I'm just not trusting them.
Yeah, and you never trust these people at all in the story.
No. Oh, God, no. They always seem like...
They always came off wrong.
Oh, like automatons, almost.
Yeah, like sir and ma'am. Like, they never actually, like, get names. They never do full details or anything.
Like, I mean, they don't really come off quite like this, but I definitely, by the time I was finished with this, I was picturing the neighbors as Zim's parents from Invader Zim.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, just that kind of, you know...
just robotic...
Yeah, robotic, like, and fake as hell.
Family.
Yeah.
Idyllic couple, or parents, yeah.
But yeah, they just, I don't know, it seemed fake as hell, and for some reason my mind went there, because that's totally not the image that's painted for you, no.
But yeah, no, it has the same kind of model.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you think of the writing of it? Like, I thought it was pretty well done. Like, I mean, it's trying to emulate, like I said, an actual account that somebody's having of the situation.
Yeah, I don't know, the writing was good. I didn't really care for, like, mechanically it was fine. You
didn't like that
I didn't really care for, the way it was. I don't know, just every time it popped back to the narrator, it just came out of, I don't know, it just felt not
it broke
out of left field, but it just kind of broke the flow.
Okay.
And, I don't know, I didn't like it. I don't know. The story was too short for it to
keep going.
Have the flow being broken a couple of times.
Yeah.
But if it had been a longer pasta, that might not have been such a problem because I would have almost welcomed the breaks. Yeah. Because it would have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, something I've noticed, because we've been doing a couple of these NoSleep stories, or creepypastas, and they seem to be, like, a good number of them seem to be, like, people telling you their story, kind of thing, like, in this way. Like, we had it with, That's Not My Husband, there's another one about the painting, the dude that did the drywall, and this one. And so Matt from Drunken Ugly, again, this is another one that he suggested to us. I even asked him after I was finished reading, it's like, is it just me or just like the no sleep? Like, is it just like they're always in game or like in character kind of thing, like with their stories? And he had no idea, but it's just what I'm kind of getting off of, like stories that are from the No Sleep thread.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really work for me most of the time. Like, it usually doesn't help a story, because I'm pretty sure I wasn't a huge fan of any of the ones you just rattled off there.
You didn't like That's Not My Husband?
I'm pretty
sure we liked that one.
Whatever.
Yeah, anyways.
But, yeah, like, I don't know. It just seems like it's like found footage movies.
Yeah.
You're trying to make me believe that this is real when you shouldn't even be trying to do that because it's just so
it's cliche,
silly or stupid or outlandish or just like,
well,
so what if it is real? Because that's honestly where this one falls into. Like, oh no, so what? But like, it's just
it's not your kind of narrative that you want to read.
Well,
because it does.
I think okay with found footage or with this whole like this totally actually happened. It's only gonna really work if it seems like it actually could have.
Yeah.
That was part of the success of Blair Witch, is that
nothing
overtly creepy happens until like the very end. And then when it does, it's not really overtly supernatural.
It's very subtle. What's happening to them? Like it could just be them going cabin fever, or what? Is cabin fever the word for it? Like, just go wood crazy, or like get crazy because they're lost in the woods. Like they start snapping. Yeah.
Whereas, with like virtually every other found footage movie
like
that's
Paranormal
come
Activity.
out,
yeah, like
you don't believe it.
The supernatural stuff and like
you don't believe it. Even the successful franchises, it just doesn't.
Even if the effects are really good, people I
still don't believe it.
Yeah, now mind you, we don't believe that kind of like that it's actually happening. Like when we go to see those movies, but I mean, I was in a theater to go see the first Paranormal Activity, and everybody around us was freaking out. And I even overheard, I can't believe this. There's no way this can be real. There's no way. I was like, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, well, people are stupid.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like, with all of the creepypastas that we've read that have tried to pull that same thing, it's like, okay, you're not making me believe that this could actually happen.
Yeah.
You're like, it's beyond the realm of possibility. So, why are you doing it in this style that is supposed to simulate
You should just be writing
story?
this.
You should just write it as a fucking story, and leave it at that.
Is it like in the third person for that? Yeah, third person. Yeah. No, actually, I've been reading an anthology recently of Frank Belknap Long, which is he's like a pulp writer from the
listen to this guy name dropping.
Yeah, from the turn of the century, like Lovecraft Circle stuff. And a lot of his early stuff, which is half that book, is kind of in the first person, where he's like writing this situation, like I was, like me and Howard were here, and this alien creature was trying to suck our brains out. Blah, blah. Like it's that kind, and I see that a lot in like the pulp writers from that time. So I'm wondering if it's from like that, like because they weren't trying to. I mean, they were trying to kind of get their audience hooked into the character. I'm wondering if it's like you say, like it's just the found footage style of writing where people are trying to make you believe this is actually happening, or if it's the writer trying to get the audience into the headspace of the character. I mean, with this one, it definitely looking at it now, like thinking about it right now.
Like it doesn't matter what perspective it's written from. If the character is well written, I can get into their head.
Yeah.
So, I don't really see that, like, maybe that's what they were trying to do once upon a time, but with these
nowadays it's all found footage.
It just seems, to me, it seems more like they're trying to pull off a found footage thing, and, like, obviously, no. Just no. Stop trying.
Actually, that is a fair amount of the comments below this one where, like, a lot of these stories are getting predictable and...
Yeah.
Like, style.
And I mean...
So, like, I don't... Like, yeah, like...
Well, and this one has the worst... Like, the even worse failing of, it was predictable, but it wasn't what I predicted. It was lamer than what I predicted.
Yeah, kind of
like the Candle Cove thing.
Yeah, like you wanted like serial killer.
I thought it was going to be fucking dark, and it was not.
Yeah, it was.
Whereas this one, I was like, oh, okay, so it's like it's pod people kind of thing, right? And then it's just not.
They just vanished. They didn't take anything they had with them. They just left. They just disappeared. And now they're at their former neighbor's place. Like that ending just throws me off. Like it's like why do we care? I mean, like no. Like I feel like
no one's in any danger apparently.
Yeah. Like is this going to open up to like now we move to the Snyders dealing with this crap? Like I just feel like there should have been like a better like. A better payoff, yeah. Like it should have been closer to home for the writer. Like why the parents have decided to tell him now. It's like, well, we were at your place the other day.
Is, you know, someone moves in next door.
Yeah, exactly. Like for the narrator, not like neighbors that vanished like at the beginning, like in the first like paragraph. Like, yeah, it's just, yeah, that ending kind of ruined it for me.
Actually, I don't even know. They're not necessarily the neighbors that were talked about at the start. No, because the neighbors at the start, you get one name, and it's the first name.
Oh, okay.
And of the male, and then at the end, it's the Snyders.
Okay,
so fuck knows where the fuck the Snyders live.
I don't know. I guess I just, for some reason, I must have just in my head like said like Richard Snyder. I don't know. Okay, so that's might have just been my bad, but. Anyway, like again,
but at the same time, where the fuck are are the Snyders the couple from the beginning? Are they the neighbors on the other side that didn't move out from Seattle? Like, and if so, if that's the case, why are the copycat neighbors going to the exact same neighborhood? Like,
there's too many questions that like. Would be like it would be fine if we got some answers. Like there's too many questions to leave it like effectively ambiguous. It's just too ambiguous. I don't know. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have to say then, or all there has to be said for the copycat neighbors.
Yeah, it's just It could have been more. Yeah. It could have been more if it was written by someone who wanted to take the time and write a good story. Mm-hmm. Because if it had been stretched out, normally I wouldn't advocate stretching out a story, but sometimes you've got to have that escalation, and this story doesn't even have enough time to escalate.
Yeah, like it gives us some
which is part of the problem, because these people aren't a fucking threat.
Yeah, like
because they have no time to escalate, right? Yeah. You know, like, oh no, they painted their house. Like,
they painted their house.
They paint their house, and then it's like,
they bought the same stuff.
Look, he's got the same shorts as me. Who the fuck cares? He painted his house just like yours.
Yeah,
you know. Oh, he's got the same lawnmower. Fucking house.
Oh, they got the same house.
Okay, car's kind of a big deal, because, you know, that's a bigger purchase, but still, like, opening move is to paint the house.
It would have been funny if it would have been more like made more sense if the guy had like noticed the guy wearing the exact same outfit, and
or maybe the lawnmower first.
Yeah,
like, you know, because like. Oh, okay, I can see how that could happen, because, you know, you fucking move, maybe you didn't have a lawn before, you gotta go buy a new lawnmower. Okay, you bought the same one as your neighbor by circumstance.
Yeah.
It's the kind of shit that can happen. You don't accidentally paint your house the exact same color pattern as your neighbor. That shit happens intentionally.
Yeah.
But, you know...
Yeah, there isn't... Yeah, it's definitely kind of just a... Whoop, and then...
Yeah.
Like, it goes up, it peaks, then kind of levels out a little bit, then peaks a little bit more, and then drops.
So,
like, off a cliff.
It's almost like, you know, the writer doesn't understand what would actually be creepier to see, because it opens out with this... like, overtly fucking, yep, you are fucking insane, move, and then goes on with, like, could have been coincidence things. It's like, the fuck? Whatever. Fine then.
Yeah.
So if someone who was trying to write a good story had have written this, we could have gotten a good story. Which, I mean... I know what that sounds like, because theoretically you could say that about any bad story, but this idea could have actually been, like...
Could have been
easily salvaged.
Yeah.
And just, it wasn't. I mean, it could have been very Outer Limits, Twilight Zone-y, or it could have gone, like... Or it could have gone, like, just fucking balls to the walls crazy. But... Yeah.
It could have been like a John Carpenter film or something, or it could have been like you said, like it did kind of feel like a Twilight Zone-y kind of thing. Or
well, it could have. It really
it felt like it was going to start like that, because
it felt like an episode of Friends. Is what it ended up feeling like, or Seinfeld. You know, like, hey, you've bought the same shirt as me. You knew I had the shirt. Why are you buying the same shirt? Come on.
What's the deal with that shirt? Oh, man. Yeah.
Right? Like, but it could have been very outer-limitsy.
Is it's a story about nothing.
Well, no, it's actually about something. Let's not get into that right now, because that's actually what Seinfeld is. Because it's a story about or it's a show about something, but just nothing important.
On a slight note, next week's episode will be a Seinfeld creepypasta.
Those better not.
It does. Lost episodes, sir. They always exist. But yeah, back to this.
Yeah, like, so, I'm not just saying, like, oh, if someone, had have written it well, it could have been, if someone had have made it this good pasta, it could have been good. I'm saying...
It had potential.
I'm saying that it could have been easily salvaged, and, I'm sure it still could be by someone else, has already been by someone. But as it is, just kind of uneventful, because nothing really happened.
There's nothing overtly threatening aside. There's the threat of it being threatened. But that's about it. Like, they don't actually they never show any hostility toward these parents,
except
aside
when they're asleep in their bed,
and even then they're just staring at them.
But that's hours before they disappear and leave town. So it's like, man, I'm fucking kill you unless I move to Zimbabwe. Which I have tickets for
right now.
So I've got to go catch my plane.
Because it's 2 hours away. Crap! And then they run.
So, toodles.
If I find my gun, I'd go. So...
If I build up the nerve, I'm gonna kill you. Oh, time's over.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so, I'll give my 2 cents. I would not recommend this as a creepypasta, like as a good creepypasta. I might recommend it if just to read the bulk of it, because it has some really interesting weird ideas in it.
Basically, if you want to rework this and make it not suck, or make it actually have, consequences, or at least some sort of stakes. Yeah. That's why I would recommend it. Other than that, I would not recommend it, because really just
if you
like a waste of time.
Yeah, if you've listened to us for the last half hour,
then you're acquainted with wasting your time.
Yes, but I don't see the point. If you haven't read it already, you're not you've already got as much as we can, unless you want to read it to get your own opinion about it. But otherwise, as a good creepypasta, I can't recommend.
No, because it's not.
Yeah, it has some cool things in it, but it's not enough of a pain to listen to read them. So, and I assume yours is the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, the only way I could recommend reading it is if you were going to rework it, because other than that, you feel like a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, it only seems to be on this Reddit forum or this Reddit thread, and on Sixpence Tumblr has a link to it, to the Reddit, I think, even. There's no YouTube reading, there's no Creepypasta archive, right? So it's just... So, I believe that concludes our episode for today. So, subscribe, leave us a comment down in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted, either on Kiwi6, Tumblr, YouTube, Facebook. And leave us a review on iTunes if you like what you heard. If you didn't like what you heard, send us comments through our Twitters at Dr. Leviathan and at Review Cultist. And leave us send us an email if you have any objections to what we talk about. If you would like to comment about how we've been doing on the show, at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan still.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well. I'm glad that recorded that. So I can put that at the end. So I can put that at the end. So I can put that at the end. So I can put that at the end.